Hunting and gathering food. Bannock. The home area of the Bannock near Fort Hall was an arid, sagebrush-covered plain, broken only by the green of lush bottomlands along the Snake, Portneuf, and Blackfoot rivers. Since the Bannock lived in such a harsh desert land, it was necessary for them to travel a large part of the year through nearby areas in search of food. Men hunted for game, including antelope, deer, mountain goats, bighorn sheep, bear, beaver, and two species of rabbit. Deer were killed by individuals in small parties, while antelope were usually obtained in communal hunts. The Bannock continuously moved from region to region. Sometimes the Bannock had to eat whatever they could find, including crickets, gophers, mice, and even snakes. Life became much easier when the Bannock got the horse. It is estimated the Bannock began trading for horses sometime between 1680 and 1700. Once the Bannock had the horse, they were able to live in larger and more permanent groups. They were able to hunt for food differently. The Bannock hunted and gathered food according to the seasons. They typically spent the winter together in the Fort Hall area. After spending the winter together, groups of 6 or more related families would start down the north bank of the Snake River to Shoshone Falls. They would travel sometimes as far as the Boise, Payette, and Weiser rivers. The main purpose was to catch salmon, which did not get above the falls. Salmon was an important food item in the region. The Bannock would spend a few weeks fishing and drying the catch. The small groups might also barter for fish from other Snake River Shoshone. Then the Bannock would travel to Camas Prairie, located near the present-day town of Fairfield in central Idaho. The Bannock scattered out in this area to gather roots and seeds. Camas root was the most important of the vegetable roots, but there was also pasigo, yamp, and tobacco root. The camas was an important part of the Bannock diet, and during the treaty period of the 1860s, Chief Taggy insisted that Camas Prairie be set apart as the section of the proposed reservation. From time to time during this harvesting, the scattered groups would assemble with the Nez Perce and the local Shoshone to dance and barter. With the Nez Perce, they exchanged buffalo robes for war horses, the ownership of which continually involved the Bannock in fights with the Blackfeet. Toward late summer, the related groups, with their stores of salmon, roots, and seeds, would begin to drift back to Fort Hall to prepare for the fall buffalo hunts. Buffalo were numerous in the Fort Hall vicinity until 1840. When buffalo disappeared from the upper Snake River Valley before 1840, the Bannock, Shoshone, and sometimes Nez Perce made annual fall hunting trips through the Yellowstone region into present-day Montana near the headwaters of the Yellowstone and Missouri rivers. This route across the Continental Divide was followed for so many years by the Bannock that it has been known ever since as the Great Bannock Trail. During these fall buffalo hunts in the Yellowstone area, the Bannock usually stopped to gather pine nuts, which they stored in caches to be picked up on the return trip. Continuing then over the Great Bannock Trail, they came into the buffalo country near the headwaters of the Missouri River. The Bannock sometimes even hunted with Shoshone and Nez Perce. These tribes sometimes traveled and hunted together in peace, so they could protect themselves and their horses from the Blackfeet and other Plains tribes. The hunting of the buffalo was under the direction of a special chief who might also be the tribal chief. He appointed temporary scouts to find the herd, and the men would then ride after the animals, shooting 3 or 4 apiece with bow and arrow. After the kill, the dried buffalo meat and robes were loaded on horses, and the tribe returned to Fort Hall for the winter. During the late fall, large groups might leave the tribal home for short hunting trips on Bear River or to go to other nearby areas where deer and antelope were taken.